I like to think of it as some of the Scotch faeries like water and some of them don't. That's how I look at it.
That's way more scientific, Joseph. I appreciate that.
I've done a lot of research, and that's, you know.
You speak in Bama right now. That's what I'm talking about.
Look, there's Bowie.
Bama. Hey,
And Cthulhu, apparently.
at my previous job, I worked at a computer graphics company that made software for the general market. And back during the SDI days, you remember that Strategic Defense Initiative, the Star Wars initiative where we're going to shoot down rockets with lasers. I had to go down to Huntsville, Alabama to work with this company, a highly classified company, to help them set up some of the software to run, to do this computer graphics stuff. It was very bizarre. I had to wear this big red visitor's badge the whole time. Everyone shut their doors as I walked to my office and sat down with a man who sat in the same room with me. All he did was watch me. I had to go to the bathroom. He had to get up and had to hit a little flashing light. Everyone had to close their doors as I walked to the restroom. And I remember sitting out in the lobby of this place one day waiting for the guy to come out and get me. And all of a sudden, 3 helicopters land on the pads outside, and all of these, multi-star generals come walking in and go into this room. And I'm like, I'm a foreign national. I don't think I should be seeing this, because I was Canadian at the time.
Mm-hmm. You're going to have to redact this entire segment. You can't even tell that to the internet. It's just going to go, there's going to be like a thing over your mouth going the whole time. Or you'll just have to zoom in on the cat, licking its paws. That's it. That's the whole segment right there.
Yeah.
Andrew said some shit he wasn't supposed to, and beep.
We're all going to get airlifted out of here in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, Huntsville is the part of Alabama that we all joke about in the state that is, when they were setting up our rocket defense system, they're like, okay, if Cuba or Russia blow us to hell, we need to keep the smart people safe so that they can, we can do our thing. Like, where do we hide the smart people? And they're like, Alabama.
No one's going to look there. No one's going to look there. But it was an eye-opener because I think landed in Georgia to get there or something, and went to a diner, and I heard someone order a Coke, and the waitress went, "What kind of Coke?"
Yep.
And I kind of looked around and went, "What?" And she goes, "An orange Coke."
Yeah.
Apparently Coke is a generic word for soda there.
Yeah. Well, like, what? Do you want a Pepsi? You want a Coca-Cola?
Some places pop, like it's soda, pop, or Coke, depending on where you are. Like, I would like a pop. Like, what's a pop? You want a soda? Like, yeah.
That was Alberta when I grew up. Was a pop.
And
Jim, I got family in Wisconsin. Yeah. Sorry.
Did you know that I founded a theater in Atlanta, Georgia, and I lived there for 4 years? Did we talk about that ever?
Sorry about that. Sorry.
No,
yeah,
actually,
no, I didn't know. I didn't know anything about that. No, the
ATL. Dad's Garage Theater.
Nice.
Yeah, I lived there for 4 years. I moved here in 1999, but it's really awesome because the theater still exists. Like it's like kind of a now an Atlanta institution, and we're doing like every Thursday morning, like at 10 a.m. We're doing like interviews with the founders where we just like talk about what we did when we started as a theater. I don't know. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Anyway, South Connection is all I'm saying.
That's awesome.
Hey, Joseph, what about this map behind you?
Oh yeah, well, this is if anyone, the first person I guess on Instagram who can say what this map is, will get a copy of Postcard Dungeons. I'll mail them if they can say what it is. And James, you can maybe tell us later. You might know what it is. Not this map, but this map here.
Right.
It's from some game.
from some game.
That's all the hint you get.
Yeah. Last week we had Divine Right. Have you ever played Divine Right, James?
I have not.
That's like an old school game. I have a bunch of maps from old games from like the 80s. It was like TSR, like way back in the day. It was a really good game, but like so different than games now,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if you've played any. Have you played many of those old games?
No, I am more of a new age board game nerd. I grew up on a lot of the like Windows 95 garbage
Oregon
PC
Trail
games, like now my brain's going dead now, but like Baldur's Gate, things like that, where it was on the, that's when I started really kind of building my nerdom, because in Alabama, this is Nerdom wasn't exactly mainstream.
Huh.
I don't think it was mainstream anywhere until recently, honestly.
Yeah, just
like
Well, it's
now
true.
now it's mainstream, but it wasn't for anywhere. Like I grew up in Portland, Oregon, and people like made fun of me for playing games. Like I had like Traveler and Dungeons and Dragons in my backpack, and people literally like, I don't know. I got, maybe
I think it was around 2000, 2001 when Lord of the Rings first came out. I think that is when
I don't think it was. Nah, it wasn't until Avengers, until like the Marvel thing happened, and then that was like a turning on a switch of like nerds now rule media. I think.
I got a hot take on this. When you ready?
Okay.
Oh yeah.
It was Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory changed nerddom. Because before, right, nerds were not cool, but Big Bang, like my grandmother watches Big Bang Theory and cackles, right? We're talking about a 75-year-old woman. It did something. Of course, now, Big Bang Theory is like the Nickelback of nerds. Like, oh, that doesn't represent nerddom. It's turned back on them. But in general, it's, I grew up, I did a lot of the Blizzard games. So like Warcraft, a lot of the RTS type stuff, StarCraft, things like that. Then I went into the black hole that was World of Warcraft and did not submerge for like 7 or 8 years. I held my breath a long time down there, kids. Long time. There's a reason why I'm not a college graduate. But
were you a fan of the Guild?
Classes? I got raids. What's up?
Were you a fan of the Guild?
Oh yeah. Did you see? I did an episode on Starting Roll with Felicia Day, and we talked about the guilds. We talked about her flog and then tabletop. But yeah, it was. It spoke directly to my heart.
Yeah, Felicia Day's a friend of mine. Like, we don't talk regularly, but we were both worked at the Acme Theater. Little known fact, I did the animation for the first season of the Guild.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which is why it's bad, and then they got someone good to do it. But after that, and you will never know that I did any of it. Like, someone actually did all the art, and I did, like, because it's a long story, but I had like technology called Cartoon Overlord that I used to like do the animation. At that time she was like, I'm just gonna like try to synergize with some other people who are doing stuff, and so yeah.
That's awesome. I saw that they did a little reunion thing from the quarantine a couple days ago.
Yeah. Yeah, Felicia's a delightful human being. She
really was. And from Huntsville. It all comes back full circle.
Yeah. We're not two separate nations divided. We are one nation that should be connected, and we should all be fighting against the oligarchs. But whatever. No one's listening to us.
But here we are.
Here we are.
But I was gonna say that is like when I was warcrafting, like I didn't tell anybody. Like you had to keep that shit secret because I mean, you were really opening yourself up to just being thrashed, especially in Alabama. Yeah. So, and that was in that episode, Felicia and I talked about that a good bit. And she obviously had parents that encouraged her nerddom quite a bit. So, being a nerd, I'm glad it's cool now. And I'm glad more people can be who they are and don't have to hide it nearly as much.
Yeah. Well, back in the start of the 80s, when I first started university and started playing Dungeons and Dragons with friends at university, I had to hide that too, because Calgary, Alberta, oil town, yeehaw!
It's like the south of the north.
It's the south of the north. It is.
It is. It is. I remember once when I was going to Calgary for to do some stuff to do the Fringe Festival, and I was going to be in Calgary for a while. I got off the plane and they pulled me into frickin' like the security, like whatever
the Canadian equivalent of security is, huh?
Exactly. Like they still like they sat there and grilled me, and they were like, well, "Are you working here? Are you gonna steal work from our actors here in Canada?" And I was like, "No, I'm doing shows, but I'm not working. Like I'm not getting paid for it," which was kind of a lie because I was doing the Fringe Festival. But anyway, like, and they were like, but I was like they kept me there for a couple hours, and then they let me out. And I walk out, and the stampede was going on at the time. So I walk out, like all the rest of the tourists are coming out and experiencing this, and there's a corral. I walk out into a corral, and someone like lassos me and goes like, "Welcome to the stampede." And I'm just like, you realize that I just came out of, like, they didn't know because I came out the same way. But it's like, I'm like, what are you doing? Is this more of the same, the same sort of, is this part of it? It's like, do you love me or hate me, Canada? We get to rope when we get to brand you. There you go. They did brand me. They did brand me. They had like a thing on the end of, and it was like, but it was like a stamp. Like, yeah, and it's like, oh, okay, you branded me. Like,
Please let me go home now.
Here, have some pancakes.
yeah, no, but ultimately I love Canada. All of it. I love, yeah, in general. But
I'll say this. Being a redneck, I can say this because it's my people. There's rednecks everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go.
absolutely.
Every area. I lived in Beverly Hills last year for a year. It's got rednecks too.
Yeah.
Or hillbillies, whatever nomenclature you're into.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fact. Yeah.
Hashtag facts.
Hey, how about
so yeah, I
hashtag
recommend
next Scotch?
I
You
recommend water with this.
Yeah, I
would
tried it
say
with
yes.
water. I kind of like the more funk with the spice at the end. I think that balanced it out a little more. So a touch of
Yeah.
water. Yep.
I would recommend.